It's the third Saturday of the month, which means we are back for a Game Club recap. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Howdy.
And Musum.
Hello.
We're going to talk about Exo 1. The game Exo 1 that I'm assuming all of us are playing on Xbox Series X.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that part.
Yeah, me too. All three-thirds TVGP playing it on Game Pass on Series X. If you want to play this along with us, I'm assuming it will be on Game Pass for quite a while. So go check it out. Let's break down all the deets about the game here. Released on November 18th, 2021. Published by Future Friends Games, along with the developer, which is Expletive. It's just one person. His name is Jay Weston. So it's a one-person game. Came out on PC, Xbox One, and Series consoles. Time travel here. Metacritic and OpenCritic agreed at 81. Appears for the release date Battlefield 2042. Death's Door came out on PS4 and PS5. Solar Ash, Shin Megami Tensei 5, and Forza Horizon 5 are kind of a small sampling of some rather large games. We're going to ask the same question we ask every month. Was this game top of the pile, middle of the pack, or overlooked?
I think this thing is way overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm somewhere between overlooked and middle of the pack. I've seen some, like, you were excited about it, Moon, and I kind of looked up reviews because I like knowing how against the social order my opinion's going to be for these podcasts.
Ditto.
And it received some pretty high praise from like Polygon and I can't remember. I think IGN had a positive one. I think Eurogamer
so the Guardian
had
had some
one.
coverage. Yeah. I'm sort of in the same spot too. I think it got a lot of coverage and a lot of it was really positive. It completely missed me. Like all of that coverage missed me completely. So I'm
Honestly,
not sure if that's good or bad.
For me, this is very much one of those things that I heard about through a select few people on Twitter. And it's a couple of people who I follow on Twitter who, when they talk about games like this that aren't being talked about that I'm seeing, it gets my attention because these are the same people who pointed me towards The Forgotten City. These are the same people who pointed me towards other games like that where it's just like, oh, this is 100% my wheelhouse.
Right.
And nobody's talking about it. And then they were talking about it. And then I watched the trailer and was like, space, I mean, I don't care.
It's space. Yeah. All right. Speaking of love, let's get into talking about the game itself. What we liked, what we didn't like. Who wants to go first?
I will say I really enjoyed the little bits of music they had through it. They didn't have enough for me, in my opinion, and I don't mean that in like I think they could have looped the music they had and weaved it more into it, which would have been more enjoyable to me. But the guy who did it was a guy named Reese Lindsay, and as far as I can tell, this is his first video game soundtrack, and according to his Twitter, it's his first album ever. So good job, Reese.
Wow. Nice. Yeah.
Real good job.
Yeah.
So was this really only made by one dude in this soundtrack?
As far as I can tell.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Because I did some research where I'm like, I don't recognize this developer at all, and Jay Weston on Twitter sort of saying like, I poured my heart into this game for the last 5 years, and it's out. It's my game, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna assume it's just you then.
So, even if it's just him, we'll say a quote-unquote small team.
Yeah.
Poured his heart and soul into this game for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And a quote-unquote small team poured their heart and soul into Lake for 5 years or whatever it was.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to lie, this is 10 times better in my opinion.
I see.
I know I'm going to be the outlier here. I know I'm the one who adores this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty middling on it. I like the idea of it, but the controls and kind of the length of time to get from point A to point B, like, because you're not really sure if you're moving sometimes because the distance is so great.
Yeah, distance and some of the levels is too great.
A little bit big, yes. Definitely agree with you guys on that one.
And the internet kept lying to me too. Like I looked up, okay, how many planets are in this? And it's like 3. I'm on like planet like 5 or 6. I'm like, does this end? I have no idea what's going on in this story.
Well, it's definitely not 3, guys.
Like some of the levels I like better than others, like the nature level where you're going through all the trees, I liked a lot until you turned into the weird broken version where 40% of the screen is kind of
the giant ball.
I hated that section.
Yeah. In general, like I like there are aspects of this game I really like. It just doesn't mesh as well together for me as I need it to have it be like this really cool experience that I get excited about, you know? Like they had cool exploring. I think like the idea of like turning on and off gravity to launch yourself in the air is cool. I think in execution, it's maybe not that great.
I think this is where being an achievement hunter made this game so much better for me. Because as I occasionally do, if it's a game and it has achievements, I will glance at them before I play it. So I saw reach a great height, reach a great speed on X planet, X planet, X planet, X planet. I was like, okay, so basically do the same thing on each planet, which is break the sound barrier and stay above it for a certain speed on each planet for a certain amount of time, and then get to a certain height. And because of that, I spent a lot longer on that first planet than probably most people did. So I spent a lot of time getting used to the way those controls feel and operate, and like the optimal time to throw your weight down so you can get the maximum lift off the other side. I spent so much time on that first planet that I kind of just crushed through the rest of the game, if I'm honest, because it was like, by the time I got to the second planet, I was like, cool, I forgot my rhythm, I know my flow, I know what I'm doing. Like, so it became like second nature almost to hit them big ass ramps 50.
That's right.
And come off the other side at such a great speed, and controls are a little awkward, I will definitely give you that, but that concept of that type of flying, like, I really adored that.
And maybe I would have liked it better. Like, I don't think I had any understanding of the controls to like Planet 5 or 6 or something like that. And I very much did not understand that most of the planets have like speed up various physics shortcuts in them until like until like the last 2 or 3 planets. Like, like when you were in that asteroid belt, I literally just pushed my ball towards the white line in the sky because it let me, and I'm like, am I going forward? I don't understand. And then I hit like the back of the launcher pad and it moved me around. I'm like, this probably was not the path the game wanted me to take. And it took a really long time. Like, maybe that's the other issue I had with the game, is when you make a mistake, like I'm like 20 minutes into the mistake and I'm like, do I go 20 minutes back? I kind of don't want to go 20 minutes back. I kind of just got to see the mistake through at this point.
Right.
Go on, Boston.
I'm trying to be civil. I despised nearly every minute of this game from front to back. I did. The only planet I liked is the one that everyone hates, which we'll get to in a minute. This game is wholly derivative of a phone game everybody played, like the first phone game you get, which is, oh, hold the screen and the bird goes down the valley and let go and it launches. It's that in 4K. I think the controls didn't work. You had to let go of the gravity button way earlier than it made sense. I think each planet was too big. I don't think the upgrades were nearly worth the time that it took to get it. I think the transitions between levels are cool. They kind of like look at this crazy stuff on the screen sort of thing. I think for me, nothing in this game functioned. It functioned. Nothing in this game clicked with me, and I was angry at this game the entire time I played it, the little bit over 2 hours that I spent with it. The only level that I really liked is the one that people don't like, which is the one where you don't have full control of your ship, and you kind of have to half pipe at the beginning to kind of get to somewhere.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this is a cool mechanic. I think one of the larger sins of this game is that it overstays its welcome for way too long, and anything that the game tries to do differently wasn't different enough. And that's why I really liked that level, the one that everyone hates, because you actually have to figure out how to get there, and then by the time you actually do start launching yourself up into the atmosphere where there's some stuff to charge your ship, then you can use a little bit of your ship's power, and it's like, all right, this is kind of cool. Like this is a much cooler experience. But
especially the fact that it's like the lightning strike that gives you the ability to do that, and then
it's a cool idea.
And then, like, I don't know if you noticed while you're playing that level, but if you hit water, it shoots you back off into the sky again. But it gets rid of that lightning charge, so it takes away those controls again until you hit that height again.
Yeah,
like, it's a really cool mechanic on that level. I adore that level.
Yeah,
I think it might be one of the best.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite level. I think visually the level that had like all those giant pillars with grass on top of them, and you're kind of hopping from one giant pillar to another. I think that was the coolest looking one, but I didn't like anything about this game whatsoever.
I really like exploratory games.
Me too, yeah.
But I don't like when you put, like, that's why the control scheme ruined it for me. Just make the levels shorter and let me wander around and explore the levels. I don't want to play this weird Marble Madness thing. Madness in space.
And I do have to say,
that was going to be my joke.
There you
go. Weird Marble Madness sequel.
Yeah, I do have to say, I think it controlled fine. I think once the controls click with you, I think it's the physics of the game makes sense, even as the game kind of plays with, oh, there's less gravity on this planet, there's more gravity on this one, oh, this planet is covered with water. I think the planet where you have to unlock the jump pad at the end by hitting the 3 points was a huge mistake. I think having to detour off of the main path to go solve those puzzles felt really bad. But I know I'm opposite to most people's opinions here, so that's probably everybody's favorite level, which would check out with how critical I am with most stuff. But
true, but at the same time, you are also completely valid in your own experience. You didn't like it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Let this be a lesson to everybody who might be listening to this. It doesn't matter if someone else doesn't like something you love. Boston's negative experience does not take away from my positive experience. And neither of those add or decline from Newsom's middle-of-the-road experience.
Right.
We have Goldilocks.
And to be clear, I don't think it's a bad game. I think if you're looking for something that is short, I beat it in a little bit longer than normal at a little over 2 hours. And I think if you're looking for something that is kind of an interesting showpiece for your screen and your sound system, turn the lights down, put on some headphones. This is a cool game you can kind of vibe to. And it didn't click with me, but it's one of those things that I will say, yeah, man, you got Game Pass. You're looking for something that you can kind of knock out in a sitting or two. Yeah, check out XO1. Sure, I didn't like it, but most other people do. So, which is great.
Another criticism I had of the game that just kept occurring in my brain. I really thought the sound effects were kind of not great. They were serviceable, but for this type of game, I really feel like they needed to fully stretch into kind of surround sound and the deeper bass or octaves.
It'd be a little more punchy.
Yeah, their sounds were very truncated in a very specific range of the EQ, and I feel like if you had a good bass sound to go with some of your launches and flights and up and downs, I think it would have sold it more, especially for someone like me who tends to gravitate towards that stuff.
Yeah, and it feels like that might be a side effect of it having a small team where it's...
Yeah, I mean, if it's just... Who knows how much that one guy did? I mean, I guess he at least hired a soundtrack guy. I don't know if he hired a a sound effects guy or not, but
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Like you said, Boston, as well, like, this is definitely one of those games where if you have a big screen and you want to showcase it, there are some levels in this game that are ridiculously beautiful.
Cool lighting effects, like especially with the lightning, and there's some good underwater effects. That level I was talking about with the pillars with grass on them, like that's a really cool. There's some cool purple clouds late in the game that you're kind of diving in and out of, like that. There's some cool stuff there. I also will say I appreciate the way that they weaved the story throughout the game. I was certainly not expecting there to be any story, and the idea of this failed sort of Jupiter landing mission that went wrong and there's one survivor. I thought that was not only a cool idea, but I think the way that they kind of played with their memories kind of being out of time. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. And is it me, or is this a time loop as well, where at the very end, for me personally, because obviously stories are open to interpretation in a lot of places, but I felt this is like that lone survivor comes back, they get this signal, then he steals the craft, is what it sounds like.
I think so, yeah.
And then he goes back to Jupiter in the craft, and then at the very end, all of a sudden, the escape pods are coming out with all of the other survivors, and then he doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
all I got that was we constructed some alien spacecraft and flew off in it, and then I guess there were more survivors at the end that the guy sacrificed himself to bring back.
I think it's an interesting story that kind of brushes with survivor's guilt of like, well, I'm the only one that survived. You need to let me go recover them because I know how, and they refused, so he stole the marble ship.
What would have made this game better? An editor.
Sure, yeah. Make your own planets, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's the danger of like being one creative person, is like having someone to come in and say, well, maybe this is a little long here, maybe this is a little too obtuse, maybe we bring these things together and you'll have like a tighter experience. Like I did not finish in 2 hours. I think I had 3 play sessions, and I did 1 to 2 planets the first 2 play sessions, and then I did all the others the last one. I think I probably hit 3 or 4 hours, but I think that was also because I didn't realize, I'm supposed to be hitting these wind gusts or whatever that was around.
Yeah, like the teleporty things or like the cannon rocket things. Yeah.
Like the water level, I was probably halfway through that level before I realized, I can just skip on the surface. I don't have to go all the way down and launch myself up.
Right. Yep. Yeah,
which was very disorienting to do, by the way.
Yeah, I did that a couple times. I was like, this is not working for me. Yeah, I will give this game a lot of credit. Like you said, Musum, like it is one person's vision. Like this is clearly the game this guy wanted to make, and it is his vision. Could it be shorter and tighter, different? Sure, probably, but I appreciate when someone comes and they make something. It's like, this is exactly the thing I made, and it might not be the thing that's in their head, but this is the thing I'm gonna deliver. Like, here's my baby. I worked for it on 5 years. Like that's as I haven't made a game, so I always give those people a lot of credit for like sticking, especially for 5 years, making like one thing. Like that's pretty incredible.
I mean, the dude tried something fairly different and obtuse, like, so like hats off to him. Like midway through the game, like I was asking myself, I'm like, I always think of myself as an artsy person, but like, what if I don't like artsy games? Like I had a point of crisis. Like I'm like, this is clearly like this art vision thing that I'm middle of the road on.
That's the beauty of art, though. Art is super subjective.
Yeah,
like there's a lot. I absolutely despise fine art and modern art with a passion. You get me some art house theater, and it's just like a lot of times I'm like, give me a good art house movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a cool game, and it's cool that it exists. And I bet this dude and the soundtrack guy are making decent money right now. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, hopefully, and like I always say, like this is the perfect, cool Game Pass thing. Like you got a couple of
Yes.
hours. This thing is free. It doesn't take up a bunch of storage space. It looks cool. Why don't you give it a shot? Like sit down with it for an hour, and if you like it, cool. If you don't, well, it was nearly free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
All right.
honestly,
Okay.
this is one of those games that we will talk about a lot of this kind of game,
Mm-hmm.
which is this is a great Game Pass game. This
Yep.
is a great. It's like it used to be. Yeah, this is a great Games with Gold game. Now it's a yes.
Sure.
This is a great Game Pass game where it's like it's on it for a limited time. You can try it if you want to try it. My apologies if the sirens come through. You can try it. You can play it as much or as little as you want, and then you can be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like out of curiosity, I know one thing I did notice was something IGN said, which made me shiver down my spine. If I'm completely honest, did you guys either of you two play and enjoy Sonic?
play and enjoy what?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh yeah, I've
Oh.
played nearly all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they likened this to a quote unquote Sonic in space kind of game. And from a gotta go fast perspective, I kind of get it.
I mean, you're a ball that's rolling, so sure, I guess.
Honestly, I was thinking about it, and if you think about the way a lot of the Sonic games goes, you want to go fast,
Mhm.
but you are constantly not going fast because you're hitting something
Right.
or crashing into something, and that was kind of my experience with this game. I want to go fast, but
Right.
for whatever reason, it's not working.
Marble won't let me.
I did have that thought mid through, but I was like, this probably isn't a good enough comparison.
Right.
Maybe it's more like Sonic than I would like to admit, because I hate Sonic games. They are fine, passable games that don't seem to know what they want to do to me.
Well, that's always been Sonic's problem, yes.
I mean, I spent an absurd amount of hours in Sonic 1 and 2 as a kid.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But, like, as an adult, it's like, wow, how did I... Like, one of those games, I got all the Chaos Gems on. Like,
yeah, that was me in Sonic 2, I think.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think apparently we all did it on 2. Was 2 the one with the actual cool set, like...
Maybe 1 didn't have the Chaos
fight?
Gems.
No, 1 did, because 1 had the top-down 3D rotating world that made you nauseous when you went into the bonus worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2
that
had the
side.
half-pipes, which was considerably area.
Yeah, 3 had the 3D ball that you were collecting the little orbs on. The whoop, 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 that one. Anyways, any final thoughts on XO1? Sonic 2 sequel XO1?
Yes. Honestly, I think this is a prime example of why we do this show.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we will all come out of a game and feel the exact same way. Go look at last year's, last one of last year for a prime example of that.
Yep.
But days like today are days when I really appreciate it, because it is a case of we all feel differently to the extremes in some cases. Like this is legitimately like the perfect spread where it's one love, one kind of mostly hate, and one middle of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So it is divisive, and I can see why it is. And again, Boston's perfectly entitled to his opinion. That's fine.
Well, and it's part of the reason why I like doing the show is I would have never played this game were it not for this show. Like that's these are sort of the games I like the most. It's kind of like, all right, I don't know what this thing is. Let's download it and let's buy it. Let's hop on in. Let's go.
That's true. I never would have played this on my own accord either, honestly.
Yep. Yeah, I bet the Game Pass store Discovery wouldn't have even showed it to me at some point. Which is the positive and negative of Game Pass having so many things. Is it's not like, all right, I'm gonna play all 15 games on the service. It's laughing and being like, yeah, put another 0 on that. And that's what Game Pass has. Yeah.
Tiny Wings, by the way.
Yes, Tiny Wings. Thank you. That's the game. Yes. Tiny Wings was an alright game. It's pretty good.
I forgot all about it. I didn't even think I'd played whatever you were talking about until I
you looked it up.
I saw the name and I was like, wait, I have played this game before.
I feel like there was like, when it came out, everyone was getting an iPhone at that point, and everyone was like, look at this cool touchscreen thing, because it was still kind of a novelty, and everyone was playing Tiny Wings. Yeah, what a great game. All right, let's talk about our next game. We're going to play Baba Is You. That came out on Switch, iOS, Android, and PC. Now, as soon as I buy it on Switch, I'm sure it will be suddenly announced for PS4 and Xbox One, so wait for that tweet coming here in about a couple of hours. But we're going to play Baba Is You. This is a puzzle game, which means that the onus is not on the group to finish it. Typically, our kind of our rule here, or like our one rule on the show, is you really got to try and finish it. That doesn't apply to Baba Is You. I know there's going to be some puzzle that all of us are like, no, that's too hard. Like, that's not. I'm not going to be able to do that, or something like that. So. Come in next month expecting we will talk a bunch about Baba Is You, and we will do our best, but that's probably not going to include finishing it, and that's okay. You don't have to finish every game, and that's all.
What? Hold on. How dare you?
We have to finish every game, but you don't have to. It's okay to quit sometimes. That's all right. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.